Hey, greetings. Got this fucking box in, and it's not an Electrolux. Spoiler alert. But I will show you what's inside it, because should be something very cool. In fact, they shipped it in this Electrolux box. It's kind of cool. A friend of mine who has this vacuum, but not the box, wants this box, even though it's kind of damaged. And I think the box is kind of cool. You know, it gives like the features and stuff of the Electrolux on it. What was kind of weird was this picture. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking when they made this. It looked real bad when I posted it on Instagram. I didn't even notice it until then. All right, so let's see what's in here. All right. I don't see paper used too often. All right, well, let's give you the first hint what we're getting. We got a hose here. Oh, yes. Haha. Look at that mechanism. Love me a good mechanism. Look at this. Look at the curvature on that. Hell, you should know what this is by now. I'm not going to set that down that hard. Let's take a look at the wands. Haha. Yes. Yes. Look at those wands. They're vintage. Let's see. Oh, good. They did bubble wrap this. I was worried that nothing was going to be bubble wrapped here for a second. And this is one of those things. Let me just pull it out of the bubble wrap. Haha! It's one of those things that cost me way more to ship it than it did for the actual item. Haha, that should give you an idea. I didn't see those gouges, I just saw the scratches. Oh well. I have another one of these. This is one though that I wanted. Because it's not made in Germany. It is made in Switzerland. Yes, that's right. Miele used to have their power heads made in Switzerland. So by now you know there's going to be something very vintage in here. If I have a Swiss Miele power head, if you're familiar. All right. Again, I do not want to scratch this, so I'm being a little bit more cautious than I normally would. I like the amount of bubble wrap they use for the canister, though. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Now, it is a year younger than me. Ecstatic. It is a compact Miele 248. All right, let's see what we got here. So we got some Miele nozzles that are very old. I don't see a date code on here, but I'm sure once we open this up, I'll see a date code, and then we see the older style Miele. Notice the gray accents. Also, the parking system was like this hook thing that would go in here. Now, you can separate the Miele Chinese versus the German-made ones by the size of the switch right here. This switch is much smaller on the German-made ones. And this is the condition I was expecting, by the way. They listed and showed pictures of it inside, and I was like, oh, well, that's what I'm going to clean up. And, ooh, that's... those have been seen better days. This takes an FJM bag, by the way, so I'm not really worried about replacing or finding filters. What I am worried about instead is just how this is going to come apart and wash. So, again, I really don't care about the state of this necessarily, because I am going to restore it no matter what. It's worth restoring. That would be the wrong attachment for my drill, wouldn't it? That's not going to work. Let's try. Oops. As you can see, I got a little bit going on here. All right. So let's start by pulling some of this apart. And with these old red ones, I'm going to wash this by hand. I'm not going to be washing this in the dishwasher just because of the age of it. I am worried about damaging this particular machine. Well, maybe not like parts like this, but certain parts like the color red, as I was describing, does fade. This is a different, smaller mechanical guy. And then the O-ring is right there. So we'll set that aside for now. But the red color does tend to fade, so I'm not going to put that part in the dishwasher. Let's open this up. Actually, I think some of this is going in the dishwasher. I think I'm full of shit. I think we're going to make a box of things that are going to go in the dishwasher and not go in the dishwasher. Because I don't want to hand wash too much of this. And the dishwasher does tend to help revitalize certain parts. Well, there, you can see that. That guy's all corroded. Just check and make sure it's focused because I am the one-man camera crew. All right, so that gets hand washed just like that. All right. Oh, that's interesting. There is a black accent piece I've never seen before. I wonder if that was normal. It looks like it has cutouts. It looks like they covered the screws there with this at one time. That's interesting. Let's pull this off. Again, the gray stuff is okay to go in the dishwasher. It's not going to fade or anything. Now we see there are no electronics in this. You notice, unlike other Mieles, because this is a basic model. What is cool though is that they mold the symbols all the way through on these older machines. Pull the springs out. And this takes the same sort of switch that Viking had and that a couple Hoovers had. All that is fairly normal for the time. Now, I was talking with somebody the other day and they started taking the machine apart without doing what I'm about to do, which is we take a picture of the wires. There's not much here, but make sure we get the ordering right at least. All right, well, that's clean. Let's pull the screws off. The screws they're not washered like the newer screws. So if you look at the newer Miele screws here, new versus old, you notice they have this like built-in washer thing. The threading is the same now. Thread pitch is the same, so that's interesting. All right, we got one in the middle. There should be 3 screws to this, and then we just turn it upside down and give it a good shake. And the motor is here. All right. Yeah, that's gonna need some work, but we'll talk about this first because this has a cord reel. Oh, I love this old gray plastic. There are other things that came with that. All right, well, we can just actually just pull that out. It's hard to imagine now that you would unwire a machine. Put the there we go. Everything. I don't actually have to unwire anything. Oh, that. Actually, I do. I can't fit the switch through the hole. Just put that back before I forget where it was. Set that aside. And now we have some of this material right there. We'll pull the cord rewind out of here. Oh, fabulous. That is fabulous. Oh, you can see that the cord rewind is still intact. That's great. Yeah, it's got 88 stampings on the cord rewind as well. So the cord rewind was never replaced. Onto the body. Yeah. Pull the little screws out of there. I don't want to lose them. Yeah, it looks like somebody used this for drywall pickup or something, unfortunately. Again, this motor isn't particularly special. It's very basic. Notice the Trizac is gone. There's no speed control on this one. We have that. And that strips everything out. Except we have some screws in the back that you don't usually see right here. And these are for the hose to plug into for electricity. And those are going to simply... We can pull the electric part out when we wash it as well. It's actually not super necessary. This is hinged, by the way, this way this comes in. Hinges open. I don't remember exactly how it snaps off. Yeah, there's like a plastic clip there. Pop this off. There you go. And now the hole is just big enough for the plug to fit through like this. There we go. So that's how we strip one of those apart. Again, that's the pile to dishwash. All right, we've changed our camera angles now. I have washed everything and wiped some stuff down, removed some scuffs and stuff. We are going to start putting things back together the way they belong. And everything about this machine is just absolutely fabulous in terms of how it goes back together. It's designed to be taken apart and whatever done with it and then be slapped back together. So the first thing, put some of the electrical sockets back in because those have been missing for here a minute. And these are a number 1 Phillips. They are slightly smaller. You can take them off with the number 2, but if you want to put them back on, and have a good time, you're going to want that number 1 Phillips handy. All right, everything pretty much just has its place with this machine. So as long as you put everything back the way you took it off, it will be happy and everything will find its way where it goes. Just like so. Oh, I also, I put this thing back in. That's not a huge deal, but just to let you know what that is. Off camera, I cleaned this up as well. And I guess that's obvious which way that's going. Oh, you know what we need out of our dishwasher caddy? There weren't very many parts I put in the dishwasher just because of the age of the machine. I don't like... Some of these old plastics don't like a whole lot of heat or a whole lot of anything as they get old. Just put a little bit of polish on that rubber. And again, if for some reason you had one of these with the bad motor, this is a standard motor. You could transfer the heat switch on this and the wiring to a normal Amtech motor. There's not a whole lot that's actually special about this motor. I mean, it's high performance and all, but it's, you know, it was an off-the-shelf part at the time. And Miele has gotten away from doing that as their motors are now a lot more complicated. And they make more power and they're lighter weight, and there's, you know, mostly good that have come with that. Let's see. A little bit of dust left on this, but again, I'm going to let it blow itself out here in a second after we get everything else together. So that is basically just how that goes. Everything is very, very simple with this machine. I have a box on the floor with some of these parts. One of which is the cord rewind. So with older cord rewinds, let's take a little bit of oil, give those springs some love. I can see it's been wrapped a lot of times. And I've already blown this cord rewind out. So now it's time to put the other wiring back in. We'll just set that. Oh. These Miele bumpers, they come off. They're kind of funky to get back on if you've never done one before. So let's take care of this shell and get our cord situated here. I want to make sure we're retracting still. I remember once rebuilding these for an ex-girlfriend of mine. I built her a white one of these. And I remember the cord rewind just never really worked right on it. It really needed to be replaced. And unfortunately, they just were not available at the time. Or rather, the funds were not available at the time. I guess I should clarify. We just weren't able to do that. I got the machine for next to nothing, which is why I ended up giving it to her. All right. So now you'll notice there's two holes. One is for the pedal, one is for the wires. Don't mix them up. Because if you put this back together, you mix up those holes. That's going to be bad. I guess that's a good suggestion for everything life-related. Don't mix up holes. All right. Again, everything just kind of has its place. So now that's all in there. And at this time, I'm going to just wipe this down. Whatever's in here. What's kind of cool about these is the body pieces, both the rest back here, this red part, and this guy were replaceable independently of everything else. I'm guessing just nobody ever did that, so they just kind of went away from that. I think the white goes... Yeah, white goes to the outside. It doesn't really matter that much if you mix these up, but I like to put things back how they were. And then you'll have one of these screws. Just go in there. At this time, you can expect, check out your donut, and you want to just make sure everything is working. This one's moving kind of slow. It's already been wrapped a couple times more than you normally would. This is, and we see that the cord rewind is not going to go in as happy as maybe it once would have. Again, that's what I remember about these machines. The cord rewinds get kind of old and slow. Kind of hoping a little bit of oil and stuff on this might speed things up. Just kind of reduce some friction and yeah, that's as good as that's going to get, unfortunately. All right, now here's always my favorite part of working on an older Miele. Which way did this go? Looks like I got it right the first time. But yeah, these are always kind of very three-dimensional and weird how the sound absorbing stuff goes back in. All right, well, that's all looks good. Again, everything got like washed in the sink because I don't, certain things, so as I put this together, you're just going to see me kind of brush a few things off and take care of them as needed. All right, so it's very simple. This is already screwed together, so it's not going to fall out. So as we put this together, all right. Now we should have some longer screws. These guys go there, and then one goes in the middle, and that's all it's really holding it together. You know, the later Miele's, they would put a lot more screws in these. I always like to do the center one first. Let's bring in some oil. And as you can see, even back then, even though they didn't have a HEPA filter, it was still moving all the air through one chamber where the motor was into the filter. You see these right here? Hopefully, that one's kind of old and tired. But what you want to do with this, you want to pry it out. Like so. You want to put this on. And then put this back in. That's the better thing to do with this. All right, put those in right there. This machine does not have a soft start feature like almost every other Miele, so this one's going to fire right up once I plug it in. All right. Watch, there's going to be a puff of dust that will come out of this, and then that's the last of dust coming out of this machine that will ever happen. Actually doesn't sound that bad. Considering the age, I think that's good wind down. I'm really happy with that. We'll set that aside for now. Want to work on the lid. So I did put this part in the dishwasher. It was filthy. And I did take this out and clean it. Your adjustment screw for your full bag check indicator is right there. Your mileage might vary whether or not you need to adjust that. I'm having trouble putting that in. We're going to soak that with polish, like so. And as we put this on, this will all line up. Notice that just kind of like fell into place. That polish makes a big difference when you put this thing back on. Then you take this, and that just holds everything together. It's not like the older ones where they would have a lot more pieces in here. That's all that's there. Then you're going to have these screws with the red crap on them. And, well, they've got red crap on them, so you know where they go. Then we have a screw right here. Nothing goes in there. That's for a auto adjustment, which this machine does not have, but was available. And this was like the entry-level machine without the speed control and the soft start. Really interesting. Alright, well that's all together. First thing, any of these old springs like this, you just give them a drop of oil. And then it will just wick in. You'll thank me later. That's how it should go. The next thing is, unlike the older Miele's, you actually do use a little bit of grease on these. Or the newer Miele's, I guess. You don't do that anymore with the Miele, so I almost want to... You can see there's a little bit of the older grease kind of left here. But yeah, these do get greased. Believe it or not, that's kind of the service procedure. Very little, but still. Just enough so that those slide on properly. And again, we want to reduce any stress that we can with a machine this old. And if you didn't pick up how old this machine was at the beginning, it's 1988. So a little bit younger than I am. Also has this piece in it that's cosmetic. I thought that was cool. All right. So one of these is not like the other. There we go. Has that thing. And we need to just find out where this goes, how this goes, and he'll be. Yep. So this guy goes, let's see, he goes like that, and like that. So that's our lid. Okay. And then the lid just kind of goes into place with all that. Again, be real careful about all this stuff because there are no replacements. All right. Now the lid attaches just like so. Then once the lid is lined up, do you see these gray things? You want to just take something and press down. I'll need more leverage. Like that. And you'll notice that will all open and close. Let's go get a bag. Well, I've got some genuine Miele supplies, and believe it or not, all the modern I've got some genuine Miele supplies, and believe it or not, all the normal stuff works just fine in this machine. You know, you're going to have to cut it on the lines. It's not any of these. It's this one. So it gets me doing this. So you basically cut the filter in half. I used to just stick them in here just like this. Like I said, it doesn't matter. You don't actually have to cut the top off for it to fit. This way, this is the only time you see me ever cut these air clean filters because they only, on these 200 series machines, you do that. I don't know how much they work when you cut them. I always felt like they're not, you know, because you expose the layers, but they must do something. All right, throw those away. And this guy, I'm just going to put him in there like that. Or maybe he'll face me. And that just goes in there like that. The bag, I'll fluff the bag, but this takes an FJM bag. And this is not going to snap in like the old, you might be used to. And the reason for that is this was originally a cardboard bag machine, so the clips really aren't there. So just be careful with it when you're putting it in. Be mindful that you're not bending it, that everything is lining up. So I would suggest having the hose off the machine when you do that. All right, let's see if the full bag check indicator works. Now, I don't have to adjust the full bag check indicator on this one, and the reason for that is because I know it has to be opened all the way at the altitude I'm at. I've done enough of these and the cheaper Chinese version to know where to set that without actually doing it. Oh, another little quirk. There is no dusting brush on board. You can use regular Miele tools will all fit this, but no dusting brush on your basic 248. So if this video helped you or gave you some sort of joy, hit the thumbs up button. Consider joining our Patreon if you really like what we're doing. If not, check out some of our other content or go join the conversation over at Discord. Link below. Have a great day.